On today's Andy Ari On3 presented by BetMGM, we have a Megaboard Wednesday. And of course, the hottest topic on the AuburnSports.com Megaboard is who's the next coach going to be? That's that coaching hot board. We have our friend Cole Cubelic from the SEC Network, former Auburn center, to explain to us what that coaching search is going to be like. Also, Cole had the last LSU game before they fired Brian Kelly, and he had the last Auburn game before they fired Hugh Freeze. What happens when zombie LSU goes to Alabama and zombie Auburn goes to Vanderbilt? We'll talk to Cole about that. Also, the Notre Dame fans are mad at Ari because Ari was mad about the rankings. And in this case, Ari and I agree about this. We will talk about where Notre Dame landed. I have a theory about why this is happening right now, and it actually involves something the SEC was trying to get done in the offseason. Plus, LSU makes Verge Osbury the permanent athletic director, and he eliminates one candidate from the board almost immediately. We'll talk about all of that on Andy and Ari On3 presented by BetMGM. We are proud to be presented by BetMGM, and we are using BetMGM for all the lines and totals that we talk about on the show. If you have not signed up for BetMGM yet, it's very easy. Download that app. Sign up using the bonus code CFB. That's CFB as in college football, and you'll get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code CFB. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code CFB as in college football when you sign up. Also, this week, got a couple things going. You got the college basketball odds boost token. That started on Monday, goes into Tuesday because the college basketball season is here. Ari's alma mater, Arizona, beat my alma mater, Florida, last night. It's all right. You know, Florida did just win the national title. But got a college basketball odds boost token. There's also a college basketball odds boost token on November 7th and November 8th. So this weekend, so no matter your team, this odds boost token belongs in your starting five. Use your token on any college hoops bet, and you'll get a bigger payout if you win. Also, you've got a Maction-friendly college football odds boost token because there's Maction Tuesday night, Wednesday night. So zero in every snap with the odds boost token on any college football bet, and you receive a bigger payout on November 4th. That would be today. November 5th, that'd be Wednesday. Also, on Friday and Saturday, November 7th and 8th, there's a college football odds boost token. Activate it, and you'll receive a bigger payout if your bet wins. So, make this college football season one for the history books. Make it legendary with BetMGM. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers are not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. Call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa or 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Welcome to Andy and Ari On3 presented by BetMGM. It is a Megaboard Wednesday. That's right. We troll the message boards throughout the On3 network. And there's so much going on because there's lots of coaching searches. And obviously the college football season is barreling toward a crescendo. We just got college football playoff rankings. Everybody's debating. Everybody is in a tizzy, Ari. And I think we should start with the Auburn sports message boards because obviously at the corner, which is the Auburn sports main message board, they are debating who the next coach should be at Auburn University.
Yeah, and we have the perfect person to help us through this. But, you know, every place that's not playing the way that they want to play and is making a change has to go hit a home run right now. And that home run doesn't have to be a sexy hire, but it has to be the right one. And critical thought and evaluation and trying to make this decision is a little bit easier said than done. But I hope for Auburn's sake that they find the right guy.
Well, let us chat about this Auburn coaching search decision with a guy who loves Auburn more than just about anybody. Cole Cubelic, former Auburn center. You see him on the SEC Network and on various podcast platforms. Here's Cole. Cole Cubelic joins us. You can watch him on ESPN, the SEC Network, Cube Show. You want to break down some O-line play. Mac and Cube on Jocks in Birmingham. You do it all, man. You got the show with Roman Harper on the SEC Network. Like, when do you sleep?
Great question. No Tuesday date night love from you this week. That's my wife's gonna be disappointed because you listened.
Oh God, that's right. Tuesday date night too. Holy crap.
Yeah, there you go. We had tell me, you guys travel a lot too. Tell me if you've ever run into this. I gave the full rundown of a story at the airport in Charlotte of I don't know if it's necessarily prisoner, but a detainee in handcuffs being escorted into the airport, which I've never seen this before. Maybe I've seen Con Air too many times, and I just thought we had like a whole plane. But this gentleman, two guys, regular street clothes, their rental car pulls up behind me. They get out behind me. He has a white T-shirt over his arms. His arms are in front of his belly like this. And I'm like, that looks weird. Then they follow me into, you have to take an elevator to go up or go down to get to the actual terminal. And I kind of drifted back and let him go in front of me because he was actually a pretty big dude. And maybe I've seen the few.
Was he holding a bunny rabbit?
No. I wasn't going to get on the elevator with him. So I took the stairs. Probably need the steps anyway. And then I'm watching them go into the terminal and they go right up to the American counter. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I did not know how it worked this way. Maybe that's a me problem, but
yeah,
there we were. How often like a chain around his back with the handcuffs?
If you got to extradite somebody, you're not going to get him a PJ. Like it's not Kirk Herbstreit or Jordan Rogers.
Which makes me think, how often are prisoners actually on commercial flights?
I can't believe. I'm so glad that Ari's mic's not working right now. It's
what?
It's how it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be.
Ari's mic is working, Cole. You can't hear him. This is like the Matt Jones situation. The guest couldn't hear Ari.
I couldn't
hear him. Wow.
So we're doing this again? We're going through this again?
It's his fault.
This is so weird. Ari, pop out, pop back in.
Which makes me think, Cole, how many times are there actually prisoners on commercial flights? Like, I don't know about extradition and how it works within like domestic prisoner situations, but like, is there like a prisoner on every flight and we're not aware of it?
I was curious to follow to the actual plane because the security was a little like TSA. It was short. There was only like 6 people in line total. And over at the counter where they were going, this is a Monday night, not a lot of people in there. So I fly after Read and React. But once you get through security at the Charlotte airport, it's always busy. It's always humming. There's always people. And I was just anxious to see that part when a lot of other people are around. And then, like you said, Ari, getting on the plane, I need to know, how does that operate? Like one of the people escorting him on either side, back of the plane, front of the plane? Because I don't think I want him behind me. But very front of the plane, everybody goes past him if he's one of the first on. So I'm just telling you, you guys would have known like right away when you saw him walking around. He had a chain around his back and the hands in front of his belly with a shirt over him. Like after a minute or two of walking around, you're like, okay, something's going on here. You would have noticed it quickly. So I'm with you. I was very curious to see how that would have worked actually on the plane.
And if you had to go to the bathroom, you have the kitchen if you can situation going on too. You know, you go through the, I don't know.
Totally.
I have faith that you would have handled that situation, Cole, because you played center. You've handled a lot worse. You've had a.
Well, I'm telling you, he looked like a D tackle that I played against physically. So I'm like, that's why I was kind of like, can those two dudes handle him? Number one, obviously they probably had a few things to be able to assist with that, but I had never seen this before. I travel every weekend in the fall, and I had never seen this. So as Ari said, how often is this actually taking place? I don't know the answers to. And here's the last part. He was smiling the whole time, like looking around, smiling. So immediately, like, you guys have to understand, the creativity in my brain is dark and wild. Like my creativity in my brain, my imagination runs full speed. And so when I see this guy walk around smiling, I'm thinking, all right, he's going to rat somebody out and he's going to get out. So he's happy about that. And you know what? I don't want to be next to this guy when the people he's ratting on figure out where he is and try to manage that situation. So
listen,
I'm going to Terminal A. I'm out of here.
It's not Danny Trejo or Ving Rhames you got to worry about. It's Steve Buscemi. So I think you're probably all right.
There you go. And the last show that I started on Apple TV Plus, I don't even know the name of it, but it's basically this Con Air plane goes down in Alaska, essentially is the premise of the story. And my wife tried to get me to start watching that like last week. We didn't make it to the first episode. So that's fresh in my brain also. And here we go.
Yeah.
My God. Well, this is what Cole's thinking about when he's got a coaching search.
Was just like a mastermind of insurance fraud. Like he's not dangerous to anybody.
This is what Cole does to avoid the people asking about the Auburn coaching search. Because when you're in the airport with the inmate, by the way, that is 24 hours after Hugh Freeze got fired. So I'm sure every question you got in that 24-hour period was, who's Auburn going to hire?
A lot of them. Yes. Was this the right move? Did we need to do this? Do you agree with this? Should this have taken place? Why? Why didn't it work? I've gotten all the questions. I think you guys probably know we've talked about it at some point. I don't agree with in-season coaching fires. It's not that I don't agree with them. I just don't like them because I've been through it. I lived it. It's not fun. Playing college football should be in probably the top 3 or 5 of everybody's lives that's able to do it. And now these games are not going to be as cool, not going to be as fun. There's going to be a lot of distractions. The coaching is actually going to dissipate. These other assistants are going to be looking for what's next for them. You can't blame them for it. You're not getting as much development. You're not getting as much practice time. And with the portal and the money they're making, I don't feel quite as bad. But then I also think about the fact that only heightens the distractions of people reaching out to them. Where are you going to be next year? Where are you going? You going in the portal? So-and-so's going here. Your agent's talking to you, family, friends. And it's just not as enjoyable as it should be. So I hate that part for the players. But I do think Auburn had to make this move at the end of the day. I called that game. I was in the booth with Tom Hart. I've told people it was eerily similar to LSU the week before, where we went into that game. Not a lot of people were sitting there saying, boy, he's coaching for his life. Win or else. It felt like some real momentum had been gathered the week before. And then as that game went on, it just worsened and soured and spoiled. And everyone seemed, you could feel the energy in the stadium just dying. And maybe it was the text messages I was getting, the conversations we were having in breaks. It began to feel imminent that it was going to happen. A lot of that based on how the offense was performing. He is the offensive coordinator. He is the guy that runs the show on that side of the ball. And it became almost no question towards the end of that game that it had to happen either that night or the next day.
Watching that game was difficult. I can't imagine what it was like to call it. What do you think went wrong? Like, why did it get this dire?
Ari, I'm careful with how I say this because I don't know the details of Hugh Freeze's health. And we know that he was diagnosed with cancer. Apparently it's under control and it's been okay, but I don't know his energy levels. I don't know how he sleeps at night. I don't know how he feels walking around every day. And I do think those are things we should at least take into some consideration. But I think there was a bit of the fire that just wasn't there. The relentless attitude, style, demeanor that you must possess to be a successful coach in this league. And by the way, that goes to a lot of areas. It's not just X's and O's watching film. It's recruiting. It's managing. It's developing relationships. It's talking to those donors. It's talking to the fans. It's being different places.
Yeah.
Fundraising.
All
of it requires a ton. And if he didn't have the energy for that, then he's obviously going to get behind. He's not going to be able to catch up. I do think parts of the offense became a little bit stagnant. Go watch that Kentucky game and just watch them pre-snap compared to what Texas is doing. Or even, I know Billy Napier got fired, but what Florida does, what Kentucky was doing on the other side of the ball. Like, nobody's sitting still anymore. It's just not real. It's not happening. And then, of course, not being able to figure out quarterback has just been a massive issue. So I think you throw a lot of those together. I think there's a little self-awareness, a little bit of relatability that was also an issue. And that's why I've pointed out with this next search, I think relatability, guys, is probably moved into my top 3 traits that a head coach has to be to truly be successful in this sport, specifically in the Southeastern Conference, because you guys know how unique the schools are. And Ari, you have intricate details of big historic programs in other conferences, so you know how those operate also. If you can't relate to that community, to those fans, to the alumni, to the current students, to the administration, it's widespread just at one place, the amount of people and things you have to be relatable to. I think you minimize your chances of being successful. So that has skyrocketed up the list of not just for the Auburn candidacy, but for any of these big jobs that are open.
So it's weird with Auburn because we've been talking about all season, if this opens. And we keep pointing toward the same candidate, who is John Summerall from Tulane, who's from Huntsville, who played linebacker at Kentucky, who won 2 Sun Belt titles at Troy. Like, he feels my co-host on my Yahoo show, Stephen Godfrey, says he was created in a lab to be the next Pat Dye, essentially. But now that the job's actually open, I'm getting all these texts from agents and those types of people. What about this guy? How about Clark Lee? How about Eli Drinkwitz? What would you think about this? So how do you handicap this coaching search? And if you're John Cohen, like, how do you start casting the net?
The first thing I would say to you and Steven in reference to that particular coach would be just shut the fuck up. But other than that, we can move on and talk about other candidates for this job. The reason the reason it's going to be difficult to handicap, and there's one massive reason for this. And I know most people, when I say that, they would say, oh yeah, the meddlers, the boosters, and this, that, whatever. And I actually don't think that's it, because I do think the alignment at Auburn is real right now. And I think it is as aligned as it's been in a very long time. And I have people that have known it longer than I have that would agree with me. It's that John Cohen is a thinker. John Cohen has a baseball background, so he's very analytical. He is an analytics guy. And you guys know when that begins to happen, your imagination begins to run like mine was in the airport the other day. You can have a home run right in front of you, and that can be so simple, so easy. It can be a layup on a 6-foot goal with a miniature basketball. It's like, just dunk the thing home. But your brain tells you otherwise. And you think about this guy, and you think about that guy. What about this? But he did this over here. But that guy knows that guy, and he told me this about him. And when you start running in those circles, you can convince yourselves that other things may be better. That's the reason that I think it would be very difficult to handicap this hire by John Cohen at Auburn. I think there's a part of him that wants an offensive guy, to which I would say a lot of Auburn fans are going to feel like that's a retread. Not that it is. I realize that it's not the same person and it's not the same thing, and you're not hiring him again. But if you were to bring it, I love Eli Drinkwitz. I think he's going to be successful wherever he goes, even if he stays in Missouri. But I think a lot of Auburn fans would say, we've had that guy. We've tried that multiple times now, and it hasn't gone
He's a
great.
Gus guy, too.
And if you went to Rhett Lashley, which is off the table now, but a couple of weeks ago it wasn't, I think people would have said, we've been here and we've done this. That's why I think also some value could be created with a new personality, a new profile, so to speak, that could take over and do things in a little bit of a different way, rather than being overly reliant on one side of the ball or maybe a position group to have to be successful for your team to ultimately be successful.
How often do you think the layup hire, the one that's right in front of you that everybody, sees as the shortest line from point A to point B, actually works out?
Boy, see, I thought you were going to go with how often does it actually happen, which may be just as difficult question to answer there, because not very often. And once again, because a lot of these ADs, I believe, number one, they want it to be their idea. And like one of the smartest people that I know in my life, Conrad Thompson, who has gone from being a mortgage guy to one of the most, successful wrestling podcasters on earth, he used to always tell me, if you want anybody to do something, you have to make it their idea. And so I think a lot of these ADs, they want it to be their hire. They're all looking under all of these rocks to see the coaching stone that hasn't been unturned. And let's be real, it's not there. Like, who's the coach that you're going to hire that no one's heard of, that once people do their due diligence is going to sit back and say, by golly, he got it. That's the one. How did we not think of that? It's just not there. And the hardest part for me in all of these is I have tried to remove the term fit from this. I try not to use it anymore, because give me a better fit for Arkansas than Sam Pittman. Give me a better fit for LSU than Ed Orgeron. And see, I'm almost at more of a disadvantage because Ed Orgeron has told me stories about being too poor when he was a kid for his dad to buy him a ticket to go to an LSU game. And his dad told him when he was in elementary school, hey, son, you keep working your ass off. One day you can be the head coach or a player there, and they'll give you the keys to the stadium. You're not going to need me to buy you tickets. And you're sitting back, this dude's the head coach. You're like, they're going to win 100 national championships.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a fairy tale.
And they won one and they fired him 21 months later. Like,
so we've seen these fits everywhere, Hugh Freeze's dream job was Ole Miss, and it didn't work out there. So I try to get away from fit. And that's why I think relatability is becoming more important for me, more important than ties to a school or have been at a school. It's just, can you relate to Billy Bob the Booster that wants you to go on a dove hunt? And then can you walk out of there and relate to a kid from inner city Mobile that's 17 and might want to come play receiver for you? That's the kind of person that you need to have at so many of these places. So I'm not even sure of how to answer that question, Ari, because I don't know exactly where certain people are going to want to go with it.
Relatability is an interesting thing because Andy and I used to talk about this all the time, which is if you go back to 2015 and then you look at the top coaches in the country list, a lot of them were robots. Like Urban Meyer was a robot.
Yeah.
And now the most successful coach in college football is Ryan Day, and he's the most relatable human being on the planet. Where do you stand on personality profile? Do you have to be a robotic maniac, or can you be a normal person now?
I don't think you can't be the robotic maniac anymore, because you used to could rule with an iron fist, and you can't anymore. Andy and I, when we played college football, we were trapped. And it sounds gross and it sounds harsh, but the reality was, if I was telling this story the other day when Bill Oliver was named interim head coach at Auburn. Ben Leard, I was in his wedding, he was in my wedding. He's one of my best friends to this day. He said, well, if Brother O gets this job, I'm out. And I was like, well, hold on a second. What? And because Bill Oliver's philosophy on his football team was the best athlete should play, which in a lot of ways makes perfect sense. I was actually more concerned about the fact that he said he was going to transfer, because we all sat around like, how are you going to do that? The only guys who transferred, they got kicked off the team and they went to Troy. That's literally the only ones we heard about were the guys that got booted, and maybe you caught on somewhere at a smaller school and then had to climb your way back up to somehow find a way to get some playing time. It was a literal death sentence to say that you were going to transfer back then. It just didn't happen. Now, so you could rule that way, and you could coach that way, and you could manage things that way. Didn't care if guys hated you, loved you. Your way was your way. Well, now it doesn't operate like that. And you need the players to stick around, and you need the players to want to be around. So that's why I think relatability is more important, Ari, because who are the guys? I know people will think Kirby coaches this way, but I can promise you he doesn't. Kirby knows how to convince guys to want to do the things he needs them to do. That's where he's a mastermind.
Kirby's not a mastermind. Talk to a player like a player.
Yeah, he's not walking in there kicking down doors saying, by God, you better do this today or else. He doesn't operate that way. He knows how to play the mind games. Kirby Smart is a literal Jedi. He knows how to go in there and say, Kirby will tell you stories about guys coming to him and say, Coach, why are we not in full pads? Andy, was there ever a day you ever thought about asking the coach if we could be in full pads?
No.
Not a
My
real
offensive
thing.
line coach would have thrown me out of the room.
They would have locked us up. Actually, our teammates in our room would have locked us up for even suggesting that first. But he knows how to convince guys, hey, we need this. This is what we have to be successful. That's where his brilliance, I think, lays above everybody else that's doing this. And I'm sure there are a lot of other coaches I haven't been around as much that do things that way, but you can't rule that way anymore. It's not real. So you have to convince guys to want to do it the way it needs to be done. And relatability, I think, is the main way that you got to go do that.
So does DJ Jerkin have a shot at this job? And related question, because you've called the last two games by LSU and Auburn, and they're both going to play their first games under interim coaches. Are they dangerous to who they play? Because LSU plays Alabama, Auburn plays Vandy. Obviously, both those teams are trying to get the playoff.
They're both dangerous. I'll start with Auburn. I think they're dangerous because if you guys have for the folks that haven't, DJ Durkin is the nicest human being on planet Earth. Like one of the most enjoyable humans to talk to that you will ever come across. Whether you're talking about football, kids, wiffle ball, like the stock market, it doesn't matter. He is just a great individual to be around and talk to. I think that will elevate a lot of the guys. That doesn't automatically fix the offense. And for both of these teams, the biggest problem with Frank Wilson or DJ Durkin, they can love them to death. It ain't going to make them block better. And that's the biggest problem for both of these teams. Now, I think LSU is even more different. I think this is worst case scenario for Alabama. And I am not saying that I think this automatically means that Alabama loses this game. But Frank Wilson is like the patron son of the state of Louisiana. And LSU is a major part of that. There are a lot of individuals on that team, around that team, in that state, around that campus that would cut a finger off for that man. And now that he has this opportunity in front of him to do this, and most people probably realize, okay, he has no shot to get this job. I bet they didn't think Ed O had a shot either. You will get something different from LSU. I think you'll get something a little different from Auburn. You will get a lot different from LSU this weekend. I truly believe that because of who Frank is and what Frank means to not just that program, but that entire state.
It's Mulligan Day, Andy.
That's tomorrow, buddy.
It's still Mulligan Day. We're pondering.
You're headed toward the Tigers.
I just like love talking to people. We and just like they change your perspective on something, and then it makes you think twice. It's like now I feel like LSU is going to come out and play like a top 4 team on Saturday. Well,
Cole, I remember when Cornell Williams took over for Brian Harsin. Just the level of energy changed around the program. And hearing you talk about Frank Wilson and knowing, Frank's history at LSU, I can see that. I can see it happening. I just don't know if they can block. To counter where Ari's brain is going there, we could then dive into the X's and O's of this. And there will be still a lot of disadvantages that both of these teams are going to be facing.
I'm a vibes guy, though. Like I'm all about vibes.
Yeah,
I like feelings.
I'll say this: if that game was in Baton Rouge, I would tell you just go ahead and flip it. And I think it would be even more different. Being on the road is going to be difficult. And even though Alabama doesn't have the traditional Nick Saban front sevens that we've seen from them so many times, Yanzier Pierre's coming on a little bit. You got a couple of those other D tackles that are coming on. James Smith's playing good football. They will be able to cause problems for that LSU offensive line. Now, the good news will be that maybe they actually decide to line up and hand the ball off every now and then. Potentially even do it on consecutive downs, which would be something that I'm not sure the people in Louisiana can remember being done. Well, and maybe even line up in
offensive line coach by trade calling plays.
And maybe even lined up in an evened out formation that looks like you might run that way or you might run that way to throw the defense off a little bit. Foreign concepts, I get, but things we might see for LSU this weekend.
It's just like funny though, because you just spent like 5 minutes talking about how important relatability is. And then Frank Wilson is like the literal personification of perfection in that regard. I mean, the man's from New Orleans, and like you said, people would cut fingers off. I've related to a lot of people, and I don't think anyone would ever cut a finger off for me. Would you?
I don't believe that. I think that there are plenty. A couple in your
house.
You
wouldn't cut a finger off for me, Ari?
I would cut. It depends on what finger.
Depends on what's on the line. Also, I think.
Yeah.
Am I worth the pinky to you, Ari? Am I worth the pinky? That's all I'm asking.
Would the pinky be the first to go? I don't think the pinky would be the first to go.
Seems like the most useless.
It would have to be.
So you have something in your hand. You would want the pinky to the pinky is the most important finger to me because
your ring finger can do more than your pinky. I'd rather have the ring finger.
It now becomes your pinky and your. It's like
do me a favor,
both of fingers.
Do me a favor, both of you. What's your dominant hand?
Right.
Okay. Now go like this with your hand in your pinky and line your finger down the pinky and tell me if you feel a divot right here.
What is this?
That's where your cell phone rests. Look at my finger. There's a divot right there.
So
everybody has.
I got good news for you. I was in the Apple store the other day. I got the new iPhone. They now make these giant necklaces like you wear for credentials for your phone that you can get. I'll just get one of those, and I'll just wear my phone on my neck
with your phone.
Do you see on the camera how the pinky,
Cole, what he's trying to say is, I'm not worth a pinky because it would mess up his cell phone holding.
I'm saying I think I might remove the middle finger. No, this isn't the middle finger. Whatever this finger is on my left
finger.
dominant
It's
hand.
a ring finger.
My ring finger.
Yeah, your wife would not appreciate that.
Actually, I haven't worn my wedding ring in like a year. I got to get it refitted. It fell off because I lost weight. Are you proud of me?
Yes, very.
But
mine's loose, but it hasn't fallen off. Like it didn't used to move like that, but it's
yeah.
I have a permanent divot because mine's been on for almost 25 years now. So it just, even if I took it off, you'll know there's a ring there. So, gentlemen, this has been very educational. Cole Cubelic, you can see him on the SEC Network calling games with Tommy Hart and Jordan Rogers.
And he does a
show in the morning
job too. Like we got to point out,
yes,
the way you call games, I feel more relatable. Like, speaking about relatability,
it's the best, and it's not just because you're here, Cole. It is the best college football broadcast there is. The three of you is the best one.
Thank you, appreciate that.
So, but also Tuesday date night.
Yes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get yours. It comes out every Wednesday morning. So yeah, we talk about prisoners in airports this week.
Is it a good way to connect with your wife during the football season? Because I need to come up with ways to
I'd listen to your podcast with your wife, are you?
Yeah. If I did a podcast with my wife, that would be, I don't even know if we could have a functional show. But
it must be great because we have a Tuesday standing date night regardless. So we go on date night every Tuesday. This kind of forces us to go different places because we talk about where we go eat. And it makes us communicate more because we have to talk about the things that we're going to talk about on the podcast. Some we don't tell each other before. And we have to sit there and do it together, which you could be on your phone. You could be watching TV, whatever. So, yeah, it definitely helps our marriage.
I'm just imagining at what point I would say to my wife, save it for the show.
It's happened. It has happened often. We have a running note on our phones that is Tuesday date night, and I have to. There was one last night at like 11:30 when we were in bed, and I was like, "Get your phone out and put it in there now. Put it in." She's like, "I'll remember." I'm like, "You won't. You got to put it in there now. You will not remember that." So yes, it happens.
Cole's an update the rundown guy. I don't believe in rundowns.
Hey,
Cole,
somebody's got to run their show. So,
well, as you've learned from the last 5 minutes of this show, I don't believe in rundowns. Thank you, Cole. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. I think reading between the lines, I think Cole would very much like to see John Sumrall get hired at Auburn and would very much not like that to be overthought.
Yeah. The lines were pretty clear there. I don't know how much you have to read between them, but yeah, I think
it's like, please don't mention his name. Just be quiet. Let John Cohen think it's his idea.
Yeah, exactly. Fit, I think, is interesting. The whole idea of relatability, walking through that is something that I feel like we both knew, but we don't speak about a lot. And I think I agree with him on all that stuff.
I think he's right about that. I think, and relatability is not the same thing as like the old, he's a player's coach, which I think was code for he lets the players walk all over him. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about a different brand of interpersonal communication than what worked in the 90s and in the early 2000s.
Because fundraising is so much. Fundraising was always important. Okay. Gifts to the athletic department were always important, and relatability, I think to a certain extent, has always been important. But fundraising is so much bigger and so much more important and integral to the possibility or the potential of you having success than it's ever been before. Like the waterfall in the locker room isn't winning games. It might have helped, wow a recruit back in the day, but how much money you can raise to actually bolster your roster and compensate the players that you need to compete is such a huge aspect of coaching. We joke about it now, but it's like, recruiting, I used to say, would be like 80% of the job, and it still is a pretty high point of the job. But like, I feel like actually coaching football, the percentage of that being part of the job is like lower than it's ever been.
It's funny because it is lower, but being schematically strong is more important than it used to be, because now it's harder to accumulate a massive talent advantage. So you have to be better schematically. But the relatability thing is really interesting. I thought he made a good point where you got to be able to go dove hunting with the multimillionaire, but you also need to be able to talk to somebody who is from a tough neighborhood in Mobile. Like, it's not easy to be that person, to be that kind of person who can fit in, move in both worlds, communicate with people effectively, come off as authentic to all of those different kinds of people. There's not many people in the world who can handle that.
Right. And that's what makes being a successful head coach in 2025 like finding a unicorn. So hopefully Auburn finds their unicorn. We will see.
But we have other very interesting message board posts that we need to talk about. But first, I want to tell you about Huel. Got the Huel Black Edition right here. This is lunch. This is a complete meal. I throw the powder in, fill it up, I shake it up, and I have a complete meal with 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners. It is gluten-free, and it is ready to go under $5 per meal. It's so awesome. Plus, big news this month, the Huel Black Edition ready to drink. So the bottles that are already filled, ready to go, they are coming to Target. Also, Huel Daily Greens coming to Target as well. You could also get them at Huel.com, but Huel Daily Greens, so that would be 42 vitamins, minerals, and superfoods, super greens, adaptogens, lion's mane mushroom, fiber, electrolytes, and antioxidants, all here. So you can get it at Target or go to Huel.com. That's Huel.com for the world's #1 complete nutrition. Use the promo code STAPLES15 for 15% off your first order of $75 or more. The Black Edition meal right here in a bottle is the way to go when you are super busy. Like when you're doing a recording marathon today, I can have lunch and record. It is the best. All right. Huel.com, Staples15, 15% off your first order of $75 or more. All right. This is my favorite Megaboard topic I think that we've ever done.
Oh.
It is from Blue and Gold, which is our Notre Dame site.
Oh.
Ari Wasserman bitches about Notre Dame's number 10 ranking.
Great thread. I mean, that's all true. I did do that. Did I not do that? I did do that.
You did do that. You wrote a column after the college football playoff rankings came out explaining your thought that Notre Dame's number 10 ranking is based more on vibes than resume. And I would agree with you on that because the Notre Dame fans who apparently have never listened to this show before think we hate Notre Dame because we said we don't think Notre Dame should be ranked this high because, well, they certainly shouldn't be 8 spots ahead of the team that has the same record and beat them head to head.
Yeah. So, like, Notre Dame people are really smart, right? Like, Notre Dame is a really good school, and usually they're. Here's what I want to say: if you look at a column or a clip on a podcast or a tweet, and your response to that is they hate my school, that's the lowest level of thought that you can possess as an adult human. And that's okay. Maybe there's a lot of that in college football, but Andy and I aren't talking about this because it's Notre Dame. We're talking about it because of the resumes. And
if it were flipped, if Miami were the team that had the head-to-head loss and they were number 10, I would be saying the same thing
right now, saying that Notre Dame is misranked too low. Like, it's not about who's the logo. And I know that so many people think, and this is the thing that kills me more than anything. So many people in college football think that teams get the benefit of the doubt because of the logo on their chest or on their helmet. And I thought that this ranking reinforced that misnomer. That it's just, they are favored in certain metrics, right? Like if you go through and you look at like SP plus and all these things, there's a lot of.
I'm glad you brought this up, Ari, because this brings me to a theory.
But before you get into the theory, though, I just want to finish the thought because I wanted to set you up for it. But like, they are statistically in the data favored in a lot of the metrics that are used secondary, right? And I think that the number one problem that I have more than anything is that the number one metrics that we should be using, there are 4 of them: your record, who you beat, what your strength of record is, and what your strength of schedule is. And then we fall back into S&P Plus and FPI and all these different things that they use if those 4 metrics don't help you decide who should be ranked higher. And I think that putting the metrics and the other data points before the results of the games is a fundamentally wrong thing to do when trying to come up with the right person. Now, I'll let you go into what your theory is because I agree with you.
So remember when I was in Destin at the SEC spring meetings and the SEC athletic directors and coaches were all saying they need to change the way they evaluate the teams for the college football playoff. They need to consider the strength of schedule and just how good the teams are and the personnel and just how deep teams are. What they were saying and the little packet that the SEC passed out was a whole bunch of kind of predictive power rankings and how well their teams did in them. This is what the SEC wanted, and this is what the Big Ten wanted this offseason. And you heard Reese Davis on the broadcast, or maybe you didn't. If you have YouTube TV, you didn't hear it. But he talked to Mac Rhodes, the Baylor AD, who's the chair of the committee, about all the new metrics that they're using. Well, guess what? Those metrics that they're using, which were designed to get more SEC and Big Ten teams into the playoff, are helping Notre Dame because Notre Dame is one of those teams. Yeah. Notre Dame is statistically similar to one of those teams. So I'm looking at SP Plus right now. Notre Dame's number 7 in SP Plus. Utah's number 6. If you're wondering why Utah is ranked as high as it is with 2 losses as a Big 12 team, that's why. Because Utah's number 6, even though it's lost to Texas Tech and it is lost to BYU. So that's why Notre Dame is ahead of Texas, because the SEC wanted teams evaluated this way. Like predictive power rankings, they're the ones that would always have Alabama number 1. Always would have Ohio State number 1 or number 2. And SP Plus actually has Ohio State 1, Indiana 2. Alabama's a little bit lower. Alabama's down at 10. But
I think that these metrics and some of this data is really important, and I do think that they should be used.
I went on Parker Fleming's site. This is Stats of War on Twitter, and he does the advanced metrics. And his site, cfb-graphs.com, you can do any matchup you want on any field, and it'll tell you what those two teams statistically profile, like what the final score might be if you play that game 1,000 times. So I did Notre Dame versus Texas because Notre Dame's a spot ahead of Texas. I did Notre Dame versus Texas on a neutral field. And with his numbers, Notre Dame would be a 7-point favorite, or maybe even 7.5-point favorite against Texas on a neutral field.
The thing that drives me nuts is that in the past, we have talked about how easy it is to crack the code of the CFP committee. Mm-hmm. They weigh who you beat the most and your record are the two things that usually help, see the forest from the trees.
Yeah.
And now if we are going to rely on data points before we rely on the results of the games, then trying to come up with a projection or a rational ranking goes out the window. And there have been some exceptions in the past where, teams were, ranked higher than we would have thought. But at the end of the road, we typically got to where we needed to be. So like my thought process to this is Notre Dame is a 2-loss team, and and their number 1 win is USC, who ranks number 19. Texas has beaten number 12 and number 16. And they have the same record. That's better to me. Now, before we get into the metrics and all the other things, Texas, on the surface of the things that we should be weighing the most, which is the results of the games that they've played, is already better than Notre Dame. Period.
Okay. So Ari, I'm playing devil's advocate because I agree with you here.
Please.
But I'm playing devil's advocate. If Notre Dame and Texas played tomorrow, who would you pick to win the game?
I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe. I think I would pick Notre Dame.
I'll tell you, I'd pick Notre Dame.
Andy, I'm 17 games under 500 picking games this year, so who gives a shit what I think?
I'm not.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like,
12 games over 500, and I'd pick Notre Dame.
But what I'm saying is like your notion and my notion isn't how our notions are wrong often. And our notions of who would win the Texas ASU game last year were pretty close to being cracked. Like, I just don't think that's how you do it. You don't project.
I know, but what I'm telling you is that appears to be how they're doing it, which is not how they've done it before. And that's the point you're trying to make.
And if that's the way they're doing it, then you can make the case for the first time in the existence of the College Football Playoff Committee that the games and the results of the games that have been played are secondary to what we think are going to happen, and that's bad. That's bad. Like, I don't think that's the way it should go.
I agree with you. You played the game for a reason. You didn't simulate it on your PS5.
If I have to hear
there's a reason that Notre Dame flew to Miami to play that game.
Yeah.
Respect the result of it.
And if I have to if I have to hear one more Notre Dame fan tell me what Notre Dame would do next weekend to Miami, I'm going to jump out of a window.
Right. They played.
I don't
you
care
had
what
your
you
chance.
think that they would do.
Yeah.
They played, and we saw what happened. So when it happened, how it happened, where it happened, what the weather was like, how did CJ Carr have a bloody nose? I don't know. They played the game. So, listen, here's my actual theory of how this is going to go, and I hope it goes this way because that would restore order in the way that things have done. If Notre Dame keeps winning and still hovers around 10, and Miami keeps winning, and we finally get to a point where both teams are 10-2. Because, listen, when you do the first rankings, you're doing it with incomplete data. The only thing I actually care about is that we get it right with the complete data at the end of the road. But if we get to the end of the road, and this ranking is an indication that 10-2 Miami, who, by the way, if they win their next 4 games, you can take the inconsistency thing and shove it up your ass because they've been consistent enough to get to 10-2, with the resume that they have, would be in over Notre Dame. Will they get it right at the end? They got it wrong on Tuesday, but if both teams are 10-2 and you have complete data on both of them, and you can't talk about winning streaks and who's trending which direction and all the other fake things that people are saying, and you actually put them side by side, Miami will possess the single best win of either team at that point, and it doesn't even matter that it's head-to-head. They'll have the identical records. Miami will have better wins, and they will have the head-to-head. I don't even think they should just be ranked only because of the head-to-head. I'm taking the logo off of Notre Dame's helmet and saying they have a top 10 win right now, which Notre Dame does not have. Period.
Well, there's an agent of chaos called the Pittsburgh Panthers.
There is.
And they may have something to say about this. And I'm not just talking about Notre Dame. Pitt plays Notre Dame and Miami. If it knocks off one of those two, this argument doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It's over.
And I really hope that they both beat Pitt, and then we can talk about the margin of victory from both of those games as if the two teams didn't play each other.
Yeah. And they're both playing at Pitt, by the way, which is just even better. Mason Heinchel, freshman quarterback for Pitt, maybe factoring in. Remember, Pitt is undefeated since changing quarterbacks.
Every single Miami fan that exists anticipates Miami losing that game because that's just the spot that Miami it's
a spot Miami has lost. Remember, Kenny Pickett was a freshman.
Yeah,
they start Kenny Pickett and they beat the Miami team that played for the ACC title that year.
It's boilerplate nightmare fuel for Hurricanes fans. It's just the same exact spot as Syracuse last year.
But here's the other problem, and this is, I'm playing devil's advocate again on this. Yeah. You and I both believe that it's more likely that Miami will lose again than Notre Dame will.
Yeah.
And that feeds into what the committee did.
Here's the thing that I think that I want to say. And I think right now, I think my notion is that Notre Dame is better than Miami right now. I think
you are defending the sanctity of the games themselves, which I am okay with.
It's not I think Notre Dame stinks conversation. I think Notre Dame's awesome, and I honestly think that Notre Dame can play a competitive game with all 9 teams that are ahead of it.
Yeah.
It's not an anti-Notre Dame's team discussion. It's about how we operate things in order to maintain the proper way to rank teams. And here's the one way I know for sure that I'm right. 1, nobody that doesn't have a dome or a Go Irish thing in their bio has tweeted at me about how crazy I'm being. And 2, if you were to flip the circumstances and Miami was ranked ahead of Notre Dame's because of vibes, I think there would be a lot of people in South Bend and all over the country that would have a problem with that. And fans are programmed, and rightfully so, to view the prism of what's going on to the benefit of the team that they root for. But any unbiased person who doesn't have a dog in the fight and doesn't root for Notre Dame or Miami can look at the 2 resumes and see which one's better. And I don't care what the numbers say. I think the numbers and the FPI and all the other crazy mathematical stats that Notre Dame is favored in should come into play. But I think they should come into play after the results of the games are too convoluted to make a decision between those two. If the results of the game show you who is better, then trust that and then use the numbers second. If you need the numbers to decide who's better because you don't know based on the results of the games, then I'm all for it. I think they have it flipped. They're emphasizing the wrong thing.
Well, we'll see if they keep doing that, or was that just this week? Because they haven't done that in the past.
But let me ask you, if Miami finishes 10-2 and Notre Dame is 10-2, do you think, based on what we learned on Tuesday, that Notre Dame would get in and Miami wouldn't?
They have them 8 spots apart with the same record. It doesn't seem like it's that complicated now, and yet they've managed to have them 8 spots apart.
But as the teams in front of them play each other and start losing, and if Miami keeps winning and they get to the final weekend and Miami is 1 spot behind them and they beat Pitt and they finish 10-2 and Notre Dame is 10-2, do you think when push comes to shove, they're going to use the numbers that they're better at rather than the result of the game to make that final decision? Or do you think they'll get it right at the end?
I don't know, Ari. In 2014, they had a similar situation with Baylor and TCU, where Baylor beat TCU, but then Baylor suffered its 1 loss right before they did the first ranking. And so Baylor came out ranked beneath TCU, which was stupid because they had the same record and Baylor had won the game. And they continued to stupidly rank TCU above Baylor every week. And then they got to the last week and they're like, oh crap, they're the same record.
And there's no
Baylor won. This is dumb. Let's put Baylor ahead of them.
There's no
and the TCU people freaked out.
There's no year-over-year precedent from what happened in 14, 15, 16, 17 to apply to this year. Last year, they broke precedent and emphasized conference championship game losers for the first time in the entire history of the playoff. So I don't think that what they did.
Well, they also had 8 more spots to fill in the playoff.
Right. So I don't think that we can really bank on things that happened in 18 and 17 and 14. I think it's completely different now. The one thing that I think is true, and we've really focused on Notre Dame and Miami, but can you look me and give me a good faith argument for why Louisville's not ranked ahead of Notre Dame? They've got a better record and they have a better win. Like, why are they 5 spots behind? Like that's the thing that drives me insane. But the most important data points Notre Dame is not better at than all the teams for the most part that are behind it.
Yep. We'll see. But I think the SEC and Big Ten getting what they want is going to help Notre Dame right now.
Yeah.
Because I think that is what they're using. That's why, because they are looking at it and saying, well, these things say Notre Dame is couldn't beat all these teams. And in fact, Notre Dame's actually better than where we've got them ranked.
Yeah.
So that's why. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe it produces a better playoff. We'll find out. But
maybe it does.
I would like the games to have mattered. I would like them to not need to be simulated.
Do you think you could make a better playoff if you disregarded all the games from the season? Like at the end of the road. No, I'm saying, like, I've always wondered that. It's like, okay, forget who everybody won and lost to. I'm going to make my own bracket.
I'm just going to pick who I like. I don't know.
Do you think that the games would be more fun, and do you think you would find the proper national champion in that doing it that way?
I think with a 12-team playoff, you probably still wind up finding the proper national champion. Like last year, Ohio State was going to win the national title.
Yeah.
There's no path you could have put in front of them that wouldn't have gotten them, and that wouldn't have ended with them.
Well, they could have put Michigan back in the bracket.
How dare you?
I'm just trying to piss people off.
How dare. All right, that's it. We're going to talk about Academy Sports and Outdoors. At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we proudly honor our brave military and first responders for everything you do to protect our nation and serve our local communities. We appreciate your unmatched dedication and countless sacrifices. And from October 19th through November 11th, we're giving you our salute with 10% off your sports and outdoors purchases at your local Academy store and online at academy.com/discount. Exclusions apply. Academy Sports and Outdoors honors military and first responders for all you do. Academy.com/discount, or bring your ID to your local Academy Sports and Outdoors to get 10% off through November 11th. Thank you so much for everything. And thank you, Academy Sports and Outdoors, for always having everything we need for tailgating, for sports, you name it, they got it. Academy Sports and Outdoors, academy.com. Ari, next Megaboard post. This one comes from the Ponderosa at the Bengal Tiger, which is our LSU site. The Ponderosa is the big message board at the Bengal Tiger. So a poster named CJ noticed this tweet from our Chris Lowe. No doubt LSU will swing big in hiring coach, and having a football-centric AD who played at LSU, worked at his alma mater for decades, and carries the kind of respect around the SEC the way Verge Osbury does will be a huge plus for the Tigers in getting the coach they want. So the news was that the new president of LSU, who just came from McNeese State, one of the first things he did is strip the interim title away from Verge Osbury. Verge Osbury is now LSU's athletic director. He's not the interim AD. He's the AD. And Ari, one of the first things he did was remove a candidate from the pool. This name has been popping around. A lot of wishful thinking. Verge put a little pin in the balloon on Matt Moscona's show on 104.5 ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. Here is new LSU AD Verge Osbury talking about the LSU candidacy of one Nicholas Lou Saban.
I've seen Shaq and Us Weekly said, I heard through the grapevine that they were having conversations with Nick Saban. So are you or anyone affiliated with LSU having conversations with Nick Saban?
Nick Saban and I have a standing conversation probably every 2 to 3 weeks. We're good friends, first of all. No way he's coming back to football, okay? Miss Terry's not going to let him. So
Okay.
That's not going to happen. If he was and he was interested, I'll go drive down there and pick him up right now and bring him back.
Okay, wait. So wait, Verge, you're saying no shot.
I think that is run its course, okay?
Okay.
So Nick Saban will not be LSU's next coach. You heard it right from the mouth of the athletic director, Verge Osbury. That said, Ari, we now know who's making the hire. There's a committee as well, but Verge is going to be spearheading that committee. Does this change who you look at as the candidates, or do you think this is the pool remains the same here?
Well, I just like Chris Lowe's big swing set off the Nick Saban like bat symbol into the sky, right? Is that what people were taking?
Well, no, I think he's talking about like Lane Kiffin or maybe somebody, Marcus Freeman, somebody who is in a job where you're not sure you're going to be able to make them leave.
I don't
think Marcus Freeman will leave Notre Dame.
What lives up to the height, or what lives up to big swing in your mind? And I guess that answers that question. Because like that could mean, to me, like Chris Lowe and Nick Saban go way back. He's written a lot about Alabama over the years. Like to me, that kind of felt like, oh, because there are so many people out there. I was on the airplane coming back from Columbus on Sunday, and the person in the row in front of us was wearing an LSU hat. And he heard the person next to me and I talking about college football. And he goes, man, I'm hearing that Nick Saban might come back. I was like, what are you talking about? But so many people think that. I'm happy that it's over. It's not happening. And I think that everybody wants to just grasp at the past. I want to know what the big swing is of now. Is Lane Kiffin the biggest swing?
Lane Kiffin
now?
would be the biggest swing now, I would think.
Yeah. But then if you don't get Lane Kiffin, then other big swings would be, trying to get Marcus Freeman to leave. But if you don't get a acting or sitting head coach that's
what about Clark Lee? What about Vanderbilt coach Clark Lee? I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
I don't know. I wish I could be a better podcast host. I mean,
it's funny because like all the Josh Heupel stuff with him. We talked about this last Megaboard Wednesday where he was showing up on people's coaching hot boards. Like that would be a big swing if you hired the Tennessee coach away, but he's not going anywhere.
Yes. When I think of big swing, I think of like Lincoln Riley to USC
or Brian Kelly to LSU, and that worked out well.
Or somebody who you didn't think would leave, who leaves.
Well, and that's the thing now is like, because in 2021 at this time, I did not imagine Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma for USC, and I didn't imagine Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame for LSU. Anybody I would suggest, like I can't even think of it because it's somebody I wouldn't imagine. That's why I bring up Marcus Freeman, because I would not imagine him leaving, and I don't think he will.
And his name gets brought up so many times because he's the only person who's been successful at a destination job that you can even come up with, because there's no one else there. Kirby Smart, he's not going anywhere. What else?
Like Jeff Brom is a very popular name right now at Louisville.
Yeah,
I don't know that that'd be a big swing. I think Louisville to LSU. It's a pretty logical progression. Now, Brom's at his alma mater, so it's a little bit different. Brom, Brent Key, Clark Lee, all at their alma maters. But if you take that piece of it away, LSU is a clear step up from those jobs.
So here are the coaches that I think would probably fall in. Like, let's just go down the top 10 of the playoff rankings. Ohio State, Ryan Day leaving would be a huge news. Okay,
not happening.
That's not going to happen. Texas A&M, Mike Elko. Would that be a big swing because they're number 3 now? Kurt Signetti
It would be, and he's not leaving either.
Okay.
Kurt Signetti, you skipped over. He's not leaving because he just did a new deal.
I skipped over him on purpose because of the new deal. Kalen DeBoer,
not leaving.
Bama, not leaving. Kirby Smart, Georgia, not leaving. Dan Lanning has gone number 6 at Oregon, on record multiple times.
You want to talk about? Skipped over Kalani Sitake.
No, I'm going through the top 10. I only got to number 6.
Well, you're not using the college football playoff rankings, so that's what I'm looking at.
I just Googled it in the. Oh, this is AP. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Let's just go down the AP then. It doesn't matter what rankings I'm using. We'll get to all the same teams. Dan Lanning, if you're looking for an emphatic "I'm not interested" from your coach when asked about it in news conference, gave that to you. I don't think he's going anywhere. Lane Kiffin is the only person in the top 10 right now that is currently, at least in the twister of could leave.
Right.
Kalani Sitake, I don't know. Is that a candidate because BYU is such a unique job. I don't know. I
don't know that he would want to leave. If he was interested, though, I would talk to him.
Yeah. And then Joey McGuire, I don't think would be a big swing. And I think he's uniquely situated well at Texas Tech based on his background and
then you're getting into Sark. He says he's not leaving. He put out a statement the other day. Kyle Whittingham closer to retirement than leaving. Jeff Brom, we've mentioned, is probably gonna be a candidate at some of these places. Clark Lee and Brent Key. I'm just going down the list now in the playoff rankings. They're probably going to be mentioned for all of these and considered for all of these.
But Lincoln Riley from 2021 doesn't exist this year.
I agree. That's the difference. Yeah. There's not that person.
So, big swing. I'm excited to see what that looks like. But I think big swing might mean something a little bit less big than it did in 2021.
Yeah. You want to do a big rip?
Yeah, let's rip.
Let's rip a Panini pack. So I've got some Donruss right now from Panini. Donruss, near and dear to my heart. Donruss was a brand that I bought as baseball cards in the 80s when I was a kid. And they had the rated rookies. Like, it was so awesome when you pull a rated rookie out of a Donruss pack. Mm-hmm. So being able to rip Donruss packs as a grown-up feels the nostalgia is off the charts for me.
And what you're looking for out of that pack is the elusive downtown insert. Those are rare and they've got beautiful art. Yeah.
So let's see what we got here. All right, we got a Tyler Algier. Speaking of BYU, we were talking Johnny Stocky just now. T.O. Terrell Owens. Oh, I got a rated rookie. Here we go. Rated rookie. Quinn Ewers. Rated rookie. We got a Jalen Walker rated rookie, and this is a gold numbered to 90, I believe. No, I'm sorry, numbered to 25. So now with a linebacker, it's not as much fun as if you get the QB1. We got Chris Jones from the Chiefs, Joe Horn. We have a rated rookies retro with Travion Henderson. Road to the Super Bowl, CJ Stroud, a Malik Neighbors, and a TJ Hawkinson. So I'm thinking some of these cutout ones, you get a rookie quarterback, you feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I kind of want you to rip another one, but I know that I do this every time. But
show me what you got. Visit PaniniAmerica.net to start your collection. They've also got the Ohio State blaster boxes. These are so much fun. Ari, you've pulled a Julian Sand out of one of these already, haven't you?
I have, yeah. Here's one from the blaster box that they sent. That's Brandon Ennis, a young receiver at Ohio State. That's probably going to be a top 10 receiver in college football.
When Jeremiah and Cornell Tate are not there anymore.
The never-ending merry-go-round of first-round draft picks. But I've got
there's a Julian Sand NIL card right there.
Yeah, Rivers got it. I was in some breaks. I didn't buy the box because the box is very expensive, but I joined some breaks and I hit some pretty big cards. Here's a Terry Bradshaw out of 2024 Flawless that comes encased with his auto. That's a beautiful auto. The older guys always have better autographs than the new young kids. Like the penmanship thing has gone downhill.
Although that's because we all just type now. Nobody has to write anything by hand anymore.
This one here, I hit in a break. I had the Bears. Romo Dunze, flawless auto that came encased. That's numbered to 25. That's a pretty big card. So yeah, I love the hobby, and your rip that you're going through episode by episode is very fun because it's not the highest end product that they sell, but if you hit the right card out of that thing, you could be in a really good position.
Yeah,
So
there be nukes in this box.
There could be nukes in that box.
We will keep ripping. I got a few more packs to rip on the air. PaniniAmerica.net to collect your favorite college and NFL stars. All right, one more message board post, and I had them complaining about you, Ari.
Yep.
We go back to the Auburn message board. Ari Wasserman brought up a good point on the coaching candidates. Wow. And this is a tweet you sent coming out of the weekend that I agree with. Did you guys notice that many of the sweetheart coaching candidates that were supposed to be hunted to backfill these big open jobs lost this weekend? Willie Fritz, John Sumrall, Brent Key, Clark Lee, Matt Campbell, Josh Heupel. Am I forgetting anyone? Ari, I don't think you're forgetting. Well, you might be forgetting somebody. I'm trying to. This is a pretty complete list.
I forgot about Fran Brown.
Fran Brown lost in horrific fashion to Bill Belichick on Friday night. So there's something to this, I think, because it's human nature. I think part of it is you can't win every game. Like Willie Fritz's Houston team was probably punching above its weight a little bit, was due to come back down to earth, and that's what happened to them. The John Sumrall thing, well, that was a mystifying loss. They go to UTSA on a Thursday night and just get smacked. Yeah. By the way, the last time John Sumrall's name was up big time at the end of a season for jobs was last year. They got destroyed by Memphis at the same time.
Yeah. And my tweet when I posted that wasn't like these guys are no longer hireable. There was like really no message I was trying to send outside of the fact that it was kind of a funny coincidence that they all kind of lost this week.
I don't know that it's funny though. I think it is, whether you want to believe it or not, it does distract. You can't not think about this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And, you have a locker room full of young teenagers, guys who are trying to make it, who become reliant on their relationships the same way that you and I do, probably with professional familiarity with the people that we work with. It's not easy to get, faced with the idea. If somebody called me and said, "Hey, Andy's thinking about leaving for another podcast," I would probably have a hard day, like it's just like part of it. So, it'll be interesting to see how these teams finish out.
Well, the Memphis and Tulane game on Friday in Memphis is a great example of this because John Sumrall and Ryan Silverfield are both going to be candidates for a lot of jobs. Yeah. And they're both in the thick of a conference title race where the winner of that conference title is probably going to the college football playoff. So who can put all that stuff aside and get their team ready?
And I think it's important to point out the other side of the coin here. The number one candidate that hears his name come up for every single job opening is Lane Kiffin, and their team has continued to roll, which I think is a pretty cool look into maybe his hireability, because if he's locked in on his current job and maintained his focus on his team, his players being successful at Ole Miss while, facing offers that are probably going to set a new paradigm for salaries in the sport. I think it's pretty cool that Lane Kiffin has kept his team on board and remain focused on that. Not that these guys aren't on the list, but Ole Miss isn't falling apart when everybody believes that they're going to need to find a coach in the offseason. I think
right. And you also have Lane Kiffin, like during the game last week, sending his players to go celebrate right where the recruits are. Like go to the area of the stadium where the recruits are sitting. Yeah. And celebrate in front of them. Like he's still doing everything as if he's going to be at Ole Miss. And
he might be. And
he very well might be. I keep trying to tell people he's got a good job. This is not 15 years ago. Do not forget that.
Yeah. And I wish, and I know it doesn't work this way in college football, but if you are a coach who could have left and didn't, it should get you some welfare from your administration and your fans before they want to yank you out of your position if you have a bad year or two. Yeah. Like I think that, showing that loyalty should be important. It's not valued the way I think it probably should be, but if he stays there, he should be able to write his own checks for a while because he could leave at any moment.
Before we go, Ari, one thing that I just saw, and this is on the Reddit Big 12 subreddit. So the Texas Tech team barber's wife got hit by a drunk driver last month, and they've had a GoFundMe to help pay medical costs and deal with all the stuff that comes afterward. And BYU fans began sharing the GoFundMe. BYU plays Texas Tech on Saturday. BYU fans began sharing the GoFundMe, and they'd raised $5,000 before the BYU fans started sharing it. Now they've raised $11,000. So really cool. The BYU fans stepping in to help out. They're going to play Texas Tech, and as Matador of the Skies responded after reading about this, said, "I'm not supposed to like y'all till after the game, but this is the sort of thing that makes college football special. That it brings communities together. People, outside that they're going to compete for 60 minutes on the field, but we're all kind of in this together." So very cool of BYU fans to do that. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to find the link right now. I'm going to donate to it.
I should have sent it to you, and I'll send it to you right now. But
no, I found it. Got it. And I don't know if we're able to do this. I have no idea how this stuff works. I'm just the guy who talks into a microphone. But if you could put the link into the show description too, I think that would be
we
cool.
could. I'm going to send it to producer River right now. He's going to put it in the show description, so you can find that link also in the show description and help out if you can. But you can donate to help support Maddie's road to recovery. That link will be in the show description. Thank you for listening. We got the mailbag tomorrow. You guys have already sent in some great questions. You can always send in some more. Andy Staples on3 at gmail.com. Ari.Wasserman@on3.com. You also can find us on social media. Just hit us up and ask a question. And we got Tyler Shoemaker, our friend from VSiN, will be in with some of his best bets. And I'm telling you, a couple of these are going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
They're going to blow your mind. We'll talk to you tomorrow.